Hey guys, JV here bringing you a Destiny 2 commentary, and this time we're discussing the biggest topic in our community right now, the Endgame. Just a heads up, this is your place for daily Destiny 2 content here on YouTube, so hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for Destiny 2 tips and tricks videos. Today I'm going to share what I believe is wrong with Endgame content in Destiny 2, along with Bungie's response to all of this. So let's get into it. Right now, the more passionate Destiny community is fairly upset with Endgame content. As I'm recording this video, there are 13 posts on the front page of our Destiny the Game discussing the Destiny 2 Endgame in some form or fashion. There's jokes, there's serious posts, but we're all discussing it. And the general consensus seems to be that Bungie delivered a more watered down, streamlined Endgame this time around. And what that really means when you drill down to the core of it is that once you've played all of the content at least once, what are you supposed to do next? What motivation is there to pick up the controller and log on to Destiny after that point? To me, this issue stems from several design decisions that were either omitted or replaced with something else from the original game. If we're being honest with ourselves, Destiny's endgame relies and always has relied entirely on playing the same content in different ways. It is not a game that endlessly slams you with new stuff to do. You are expected to play the same stuff over and over again. Every Tuesday, our activity progress is reset, milestones are refreshed, and we have opportunities to get new and better loot. The fact remains, though, that we're still playing the same stuff over and over again. And if that's how it's always been, if I'm correct about that, then what's missing at this point? To me, it's those wrinkles of variety, the tiny variations in what we're doing and how we're doing it, which essentially made up the endgame progression of Destiny 1. The big thing for me is gear rolls. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think it was a mistake to get rid of stat variety on our weapons and armor. Some people were complaining about that in the original game, saying if I get the weapon that I want it to have the exact roll that it has. I don't want to have to worry about getting a different roll on weapons and armor. Sure, it might have been frustrating to grind away to get the perfect god roll on that hand cannon you love so much, but what were you doing? You were playing the game. This was something you had to strive for, a micro progression, a goal that you were working towards, and once you finally got it, the satisfaction was there. So when you blow out Destiny 2 and look at it from a broad perspective compared to the original game, it's clear that Bungie took many steps to streamline and balance almost every facet of the game. My Nameless Midnight is the exact same as yours. There is no PvP mode where my power level actually matters. My 285 Hunter is just as effective as your 305 Titan in the raid because everything is scaled equally beyond a certain point. There's such an extreme tendency to move everyone towards the middle, towards the same level of skill and power, that it makes you wonder why you're even grinding for better loot in the first place. Don't I want to be better than my friends? Don't I want to feel more powerful than my opponents? It's these small incremental achievements, personal milestones that we create for ourselves that Destiny 2 doesn't seem to have at this point. We just learned in the most recent This Week at Bungie that Iron Banner is coming out next week, and power level won't matter there either. Many people are upset about this, but others are quick to point out that light level wasn't really a factor for Iron Banner in the first place in the original game either. If anything, though, just people freaking out about that shows how much this community is clamoring for some kind of actual competitive Crucible mode, something where your progression, your hard work actually matters. Moving forward into the future, the tendency to balance everything will force Bungie to rely heavily on its events in between content drops because, let's face it, there really isn't any progression after a certain point. People get tired of playing the same stuff over and over again when there's nothing they can look forward to, and I'm becoming one of those people. Now, before you call me out on my bullshit, I did make a video last week talking about the lack of content in the game, and my main sentiment is that, look, people don't really understand Destiny if they believe there will be endless things to do that are new, because it's a game that relies on repetition. We've already talked about that. Bungie wants you to fall in love with the core magical elements, playing with your friends, falling in love with the tight FPS shooting mechanics, drooling over the new loot drops. Bungie does not want to slam you with new innovative content that always surprises you. Destiny is a game where you put your head down and repeat activities until your eyes bleed, and I still believe all of that, but the balanced and streamlined approach to the smaller systems leaves very little to the imagination in terms of progression progression. Instead of playing the Nightfall strikes every single week, hoping, crossing my fingers for a legendary engram drop with a god roll Fatebringer, I'm collecting legendary engrams from reputation factions with tokens that decrypt 10 levels lower than I need them to be. Every single time I see a particular weapon drop, I know already whether to dismantle it or not. Legendary weapons are so frequent that it actually doesn't matter if I get rid of them or not, because I'll probably loot the same item a few hours later. You know, it would be different if there were more than 12 guns in the loot pool. I genuinely believe there are enough missions, enough strikes, you know, the rate is fine for this point in terms of the amount of content, but I've definitely shifted my mind on the guns and the armor. We absolutely need more item variety. So, the issue is not that there's not enough content for hardcore players. I think you can ask a lot of hardcore players and they will tell you that because they stuck around with the original game for the same reasons. It's that it's not satisfying, it's not rewarding, and there's no real sense of progression beyond a certain point. There is literally nothing to grind for at this point that matters. When you take away the grind, you're left with very little motivation to play. Deej sort of addressed the endgame in the latest This Week at Bungie, claiming that the human element is what fuels the appetite for ultimate replayability. The ultimate loot is the friendships that can grow out of a game like this. The people you play with are the rewards. And of course, this sentiment was taken out of context as Bungie essentially saying that friendship is the real endgame content and there is no real endgame content. And fortunately, Deej responded that his quote was nothing more than a personal note about his experience with friendship in Destiny, since he's a community guy. This was not actually a design philosophy within Bungie. They're not actively replacing in-game content with friendship, because that's pretty silly, let's be honest. And my take on this is that it's a gut reaction from a passionate community. Again, we're looking for reasons to voice our strong opinions, and while this might have been a little ridiculous, our sentiment was definitely heard at Bungie. They know that we're looking for this. Whether they'll actually listen and add some kind of meaningful variety and progression remains to be seen. At this point, all we can do is wait, and those that are satisfied with the looting, shooting, and friendship probably aren't all too concerned at this moment. You may be watching this video and wondering what the heck is the big deal, right? I mean, I haven't even played that much of Destiny. Why is everyone so concerned about that? It is a lot of the hardcore community that has played 100 hours of Destiny 2 so far. You know, those are the ones looking for more progression and can only hope that Bungie looks at their overall philosophy and adds more depth moving forward. We've seen them make relatively significant changes over the course of the original game, sometimes in the form of title updates, but mostly this stuff comes with major expansions, yearly expansions. And from what I can tell, a year is just too long to make significant improvements within progression in terms of what we're talking about. So Bungie had better have some sort of something planned for the first DLC coming in December. Alright guys, today I shared my thoughts on endgame content. In the comment section below, tell me if you are satisfied with the current endgame or not. Like I said, I can feel myself slipping away without some kind of meaningful variety and progression. So share your thoughts in the comment section below. Next time we will cover more Destiny 2 here on the channel, so stay tuned for daily Destiny 2 tips and tricks videos. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button and subscribe for lots of Destiny 2 content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.